Hi everybody, I must say today is an extremely exciting day for me because I have this wonderful man next to me. Now let me just tell you, before he tells you about himself, let me just tell you a little bit. This is Rafeek, and Rafeek won the NGen Award for my best lesson. Rafeek, I think let's not waste any more time. I would like you to tell us all about your lesson.
Okay, compound interest is about the most powerful, I would say, force or calculation. It's immense. If you look at the compound interest over time, does powerful things. So basically it's the power of numbers that we actually displaying here. The lesson entails basically a savings plan that will take you through the years. If you start saving initially, if you come after working, you start saving for the first 5 years, and thereafter you take that money right up to retirement age, which is perhaps 65 years, you'll find that you generate a lot of money. So that's the crux of the lesson. Well, let's begin with the activity 1, which is a pre-knowledge. It's the calculator work, which the students must know. So I've given you 5 examples, and I've given the interest rates compounded annually, also 3 months, 6 months, and I've given the monthly configuration as well. So
all right, so let me get that right. You have taken, they've each taken an amount, right? They've worked out how much they will have over a period of time by changing the interest rates all the time.
That's it.
And changing the time factor each time. Okay, lovely.
And you need to get the answer correct.
Well, you know, with me with money, I don't often get the answer correct,
Right.
but things might go wrong otherwise.
Right, so please check the work.
Okay, all right, and then the second.
Right, that's okay. Next, we go on to the savings plan. The learner will decide how much he can save per month. You can start off with a small amount, like 100 Rand, right
Yeah.
up to perhaps 1,000 Rands.
And just all this I've got here, what did you give them? Where was the savings plan?
The saving was basically taking the money and putting it into a bank if you want, or
Okay.
just keep it with you. So at that stage, I did not introduce the compound interest. It's just basic savings.
Okay, basic savings.
Savings.
Okay, right, then?
That was get your lump sum first, and now we talk investments.
Okay, now we're talking investments. Now I see a whole lot of investments here, so talk me through.
The safest investments I would suggest would be the banks,
Right, the
fixed
banks.
deposits.
Here I see we've got fixed deposits. So now, what are you doing with the fixed deposits?
You need to invest your savings, the lump sum from the savings now. For the next 5 years, you need to invest it into the bank.
And now I notice you've given them the different sort of interest rates that they will get, and different time periods that they must, and so will they analyze this information that you've given them?
Yes, they can analyze it and look at my model and see if it's correct.
And
Is it
decide-
realistic?
And compare.
And
compare,
right.
decide what's best. Okay, so we've gone fixed deposits. Then?
After fixed deposits, for the next 5 years, you need to roll this money into unit trust, invest into unit trust. So altogether, we've got 15 years of investments.
And so what do they need to look at as far as unit trusts were concerned?
Choose a rate of perhaps 25% per annum that can be compounded for another 5 years. That'll be the ideal share to locate. Now you have a lump sum. Let's invest this for another 29 years perhaps to retirement age at 65, and you need to see what the result is. You will be amazed.
I'm sure I'll be amazed.
You will.
And talk me through shares. What did you do as far as shares were concerned? Because I see this lovely worksheet here on shares.
If you look at some of the shares, the returns are very high. So a good rate would be 25%, but you can get better rates. And on the other side, there's risk involved. You could also lose your money. So we need to find a share that will produce at least 25% per annum.
Okay, now, the students, what did they do? Talk me through what they did with shares, with the fixed deposit. What was their activity? Did they work together? Did they work in groups? How did you manage the students?
The students worked in group because when it comes to shares, there's a lot of discussions that can go
And
on.
arguments, I'm sure.
Yes, no one really has the right answer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Everybody's guessing. In group work, generally one learner will have the answers and the others just tend to copy the answer down without actually doing some debating. So I would like more debates to come about in group work rather than just copying down answers. In this case, there was no copying of answers because it was your investment, it was your choice, and you had to find the appropriate rate.
What decisions did they make?
Yes, some of them chose better options. I've given a rate of 25%, but some of the students were able to find better shares for offering a higher investment rate. They should find a rate which is better than the bank's rate, because that's what unit trust is about. People like to invest with a high return. And there's also the risk that they must consider of losing the money or losing the capital as compared to the risk with fixed deposits.
Assessment. How did you actually assess them on this task?
I've given marks per activity. So that'll give me an indication of the learner's ability.
And Rafeek, were they assessed at all on the decisions that they made?
In terms of the savings, I found that quite difficult.
No, I'm sure, yeah.
Because some of the students save 100 rands a month, some of them save 1,000 rand a month. And I was quite surprised with the 1,000 rand calculation. It was fantastic. So there's no right answer or wrong answer in this case.
Well, one thing I must say you have done, one thing you've done, is you've sent every one of those students in that class, I bet you, are pretty determined to save a bit of money.
Definitely.
Right, so let's look at this graph.
Well, the graph is from birth right up to your death. It's quite extensive. I've indicated the primary education, the secondary, tertiary, and your working life as well, and where you should start saving. So you need to draw the graph at each stage. Every 5-year period, you plot a point and work out the investment and see what's happening to it. So this graph is actually the graph for the first 5 years only that takes you right up to a very large amount.
Ooh.
What about the savings for the next 5 years, the next 10 years? So there are many such graphs on your portfolio.
And then did the students draw this, learners I should say, did the learners draw this graph?
Yes, they did draw the graph.
And then the next 5 years, have you?
No, I did not.
You stopped here.
I just stopped at the first graph, but I did make them aware there's a second graph and there's a third graph. So you are definitely a millionaire down the line.
All right, and then finally, I've got this Islamic plan. The Islamic plan, that looks fascinating. Talk us through the Islamic plan.
Our Muslim learners would not like interest-related activities, so I've provided an alternative. They can look at these unit trusts that are Sharia compliant, and they do not invest in interest. It's more like profit sharing basis.
All right, now, because we're both teachers, I think we both know that the new approach to our curriculum is as much investigation as possible. Talk through how you used investigation in this lesson.
Well, firstly, it's totally a personal decision. The learner has to do all the details. He has to search for answers. If you look at unit trust, there's no right answer there. If you look at fixed deposits, there's also a list. There's a long list of alternatives. So he needs to choose and make the best decision for himself.
Yeah, so in other words, he's looking through and investigating. We can use the word investigating what decision to make. I
Yes,
like that.
right. He's
Well, I
actually
like
looking
it.
for information, trying to find the best answer, the best investment. If you look at the world of investments, it's quite intense, and information is readily available in newspaper magazines. So use these cuttings and adverts from the magazine.
What did you get out of this lesson?
When I presented this lesson, I found the kids were involved in it. I just explained the initial calculations, and there was a tremendous response. Most of the kids said they enjoyed the lesson.
I'm pretty sure they enjoyed the lesson. Yeah. And you yourself?
I was quite surprised. I liked the lesson. I spent a lot of time into it, and I got the results that I expected. I think try and use the mathematics that has an impact on the learner. Try and give a lesson where you'll remember, perhaps in the next 10 years, I remember that compound increase lesson. Something that will stay in his mind for quite a while. Basically, we need to get the kids to enjoy the lesson. If they're enjoying mathematics, our task becomes easier.
And congratulations to you. I
Thank
think
you.
you're a star, and I think looking at the website, we're all going to benefit from this super lesson.
Thank you.